Welcome everybody to episode 3 of Scalar Vector. Thank you for joining us. I'm here with my good friend Alex Chin, aka Scalar. I'm Vector, as we've arbitrarily decided. And today we're going to be starting our episode on dry January, because we're wrapping January up. So, we'll also be having a special guest who will join us
Special
later.
guest. We had to consult him for some of today's topics, but we've prepared a pretty good show for you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, we put a lot of work into this one, so we hope you enjoy.
Yeah.
All right. So,
So yeah,
go
dry
on.
January, that was actually a thing I was introduced to in the middle of it. Probably a little bit before classes started, so like on the 11th.
This year?
Yeah, this year,
Okay.
this year. So I just before classes started, I wanted to talk to my good old friend Claire. Uh, we were roommates last year, so we know each other pretty well. And I was like, "Hey, what's up? How's it going?" No one has seen each other forever. But she was saying that she was participating in this thing called Dry January, and I was like, "What the fuck's that?" And you don't drink for the month of January. Sounds pretty arbitrary to me, but apparently this has been going on. This is like a yearly thing. I started seeing it pop up on like the news, but I guess originally I thought it was just a thing they were doing for COVID because I thought pretty simple logic. Everyone's stuck at home. People are probably drinking more, which they are.
Yeah, we just need a break.
But
Which is true.
yeah, yeah. So they're just encouraging it for the first time that I've seen.
Yeah.
But
I've
I
seen
just
my parents do it before. They've done it a couple years.
oh,
Not
okay,
this year.
okay.
Not this year.
And I guess it does line
But
up with New Year's resolutions, but actually started. This is the eighth year. It was started by this charity based out of the UK called Alcohol Change, and they're they're a good wholesome set of people. Their whole platform is really just they're not anti-drinking, but they're just about addressing the issues that cause chronic drinking and you know homelessness, depression. They're all about solving the behind issues, which I totally agree with. We shouldn't have platforms that are just to abolish drinking in general, but
yeah, we
their
go
whole
back to the
their
inhibition days.
yeah, their whole thing is just to encourage moderation. Um, it's been widely acknowledged by research that um, dry January, if you even make it the whole way through, you're not going to see any long term effects on your health. Like we know this,
Yeah.
but they just say, hey, encourage moderation, just challenge yourself. Why not? So,
Why not?
um,
Ha 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 ha.
what?
Wine. I'm sorry.
Aha! Okay, but
Ah!
so by the 10th, when we were on a I was calling her. I'd actually been participating without even knowing. Now I guess for university guys like us, you could extend dry January to include whatever you want, right? For in my case, I hadn't actually drank or partaken in weed. Um, yeah, for the whole month, for about a month now. How's your journey gone? If you've even chosen to participate.
I've not even tried to participate. I've been drinking more than ever recently, and I actually just bought a set of joints quite recently, just to have, you know, once in a while. I smoked one on Friday,
So you're staying
just for
on
fun.
that upwards curve,
Yeah,
that COVID
I'm
curve.
ramping up right now. I'm not slowing down. Uh, but no, I've done stuff like that in the past where I like just stop for a long period. I don't feel a need to do it right now.
Okay.
Classes are easy right now, so you know, just gonna naturally have to cut back as it gets harder, anyways. So might as well enjoy it now.
Yeah, I guess if you know you can moderate. But last week we celebrated, or the breaking point for many people is we celebrated Blue Monday. And I'm not referring to that song from the 80s. Blue Monday takes place on the third. If you didn't know, it's the third Monday of every January. Uh, Walker, do you want to pull up that formula?
Ah, the formula,
The
yes,
formula, yeah. So
very
this
important formula.
psychologist, in the study, in the spirit of Dry January, he was trying to study maybe a reason why people would fail on the latter half. And this guy, Cliff Arnell, coined this magical equation. Now, he acknowledged it was pseudoscience, but it's still pretty funny to, excuse me, to look at. Um, yes, this looks very mathematical. this looks like you're calculating the motion of a train or something. I don't know, kinetic energy, but I'll explain the terms here. Pretty good sense of humor this guy had. So the formula that decides what the most depressing day of the year goes as such: weather plus debt accrued minus your daily salary times your time since Christmas to the power of your time since failing your New Year's resolution divided by your levels of motivation times the need or the feeling of a need to take action. And once you plug in those variables, you end up with the third Monday of every January. Now, I guess you and I wouldn't really have that much debt. I mean, we have student shit to pay for, but pretty funny. I thought this was pretty good. You have shitty weather. You've probably failed your New Year's resolution by late January, which is a sad reality.
Yeah, you're
And
used to slacking off from the holidays, and now you got to get back to work. I see it. So last
yeah,
Monday was the saddest day of the year, apparently.
it
Is that what I'm
was.
hearing?
Do you remember how you spent the saddest day of the year, last Monday?
Uh, last Monday. No, I don't actually.
Yeah, me neither. And I
Yeah,
think that's
I
the
think I
whole
was just
point of
doing
this
school and
fucking. It's funny
nothing
because I
else.
remember just on today's Sunday. On Friday, I had a group meeting with some friends. It was for a software design course, but somehow I ended up in a group of all people I know from residence from first year, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, it's nice.
But I was at the end, I was like, "It's Friday, let's go!" And one of my friends was like, "Yes, it doesn't matter. All days are the same. Time is meaningless." And I was like, "You know what? That's kind of right." And in researching Blue Monday, I was like, "It's all the same. Who fucking cares about Blue Monday?" And then you've already failed, or you never even partook in Dry January to start.
I probably failed day one.
Yeah, just like No Nut November all over again.
Yeah. I gotta say, actually being back in school is nice just because my days have meaning now. Like,
That's true.
I look forward to Fridays again. I look forward to a day of the week. It's so nice. Even if it's not
Yeah,
by much. Like, I still do schoolwork during the weekends and about the same amount, but like, I don't know.
it's something. It's
Yeah, having
structure. We
something.
crave structure.
Yeah, some order in my life.
Well, you're a sad sack who failed, but as of the 24th today that we're recording, I'm still going strong. Yeah, cry in my success.
Fuck you, Chin.
But I'm still going. In fact, I have been since Christmas. No drugs or alcohol. Um, but I'm not here to gloat. It actually comes from something that happened to me recently. Or the last few times I have these spicy chocolates. I'm sure some of our viewers would be familiar with these good old shatter bars.
Oh, I thought they
But
were actually spiced. That would be sick. Sorry
yeah,
to take
no.
that off topic,
They're
but
spiced with,
I
they put their own herbs in there, just not the spicy kind, if you know what I'm saying. But maybe some of us can relate, or some of you guys can relate. But this I had historically always taken them to just relax on like a Friday after work, um, and it was cool, chill. I just play games, read, write, or whatever. It was just a nice way to relax for the night. So, but what had started happening, and I would say over the month of December, was I would I would start to get like really weird. Like I would be able to feel my heart a lot. Now, this is something a lot of first time partakers would report, but I'd I'd become used to that. But especially when I started to lay down and try to go to sleep, it started to be like overwhelming. And in my introspection, I happen to be a very reflective person when I'm high, but I started to think about my my body and how I had spent the last 8 months just sitting in front of a screen, staring at a computer, and all these negative thoughts just kind of I would think about it and then immediately relate it to a bad feeling,
yeah,
whether it being back, right, or sore eyes, and I really started to feel myself like age. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've noticed. Like I felt like, oh man, my heart's weak. When I'm high,
Yeah,
especially, it'll be like, oh, I'm weak. I'm like, why am I so winded? But I think, yeah,
exactly.
it's scary.
Or yeah, it's scary. And my legs aching, I'd be like, ah, I just felt like a piece of shit, right? I'm in my 20s. I should not be. I knew I shouldn't be feeling this way, but I felt like an aging piece of shit. Um, and it was just my mind turning on itself. Now, around last year, um, one of my friends, James, I mentioned him before. He had a recent hospitalization because he had this weird like heart palpitation thing, and became really fixated on his heart, and he thought he was going to die. That's how he described it to me. So he went to the hospital. They checked him out. Nothing was wrong on paper. So I guess you could relate it to some kind of anxiety thing
Yeah,
or
I've
panic
definitely felt
attack,
something like that. Probably much less
right?
severe, but
Right. You feel kind of
yeah,
panicked or anxious, or paranoia is a lot of way people would describe it.
yeah,
Um, and to be honest, um, last year I mean, I definitely sympathized, but I couldn't empathize. I was like, sure, that must really sucked. But by now, I definitely understand. Like, once you get it in your head that you think you're dying, it's over. You can't unthink that. So I would spend a lot of sleepless. I would stay up all night. I wouldn't be able to fall asleep just in hours of this very isolative panic state. And by the time I'd fall asleep and wake up the next day, um, it wouldn't resolve itself. Sometimes you have bad experiences and you just get over them. But this started to really compound over the month of December.
yeah. And this was brought on by one of your weed trips. Um, but like you weren't on weed after that point. It was still
No,
just happening.
yeah, yeah. There was one breaking point where it was the last time actually that I had partaken, but um, I had stayed up till like 4 or 5 in the morning, just freaking out. Um, and then the next day I woke up and I still felt the same, and my heart was going. I couldn't eat. I felt like I was gonna vomit, and I couldn't. The weirdest part was I couldn't even utter like a word. I couldn't describe in my head what was going on. It was just a pure like instinct
Just survival mode.
survival mode, yeah, and it lasted for a day or so. So that really prompted me on my last few days of winter break, I guess, to really just take it easy. Um, I started to I started doing shit like meditation. Like as a dude, I look down on that shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, meditation, healing. What? Get that shit out of here. But it really helped. I really just focused on just not thinking about anything, just being. You know what I mean? Because I think over those weeks, like I swear, like I faced death. It sounds dramatic, but I really thought about how when you when you spend hours thinking that you're dying and you come out alive, you know,
I can
maybe I
see how that
haven't had
changes
enough
you.
time to. Yeah, it did change me. So um, that's why That's why I shouldn't be gloating about how dry January has gone well, because really it's just been a necessity more than a challenge. When I
Yeah.
described it being, oh, a challenge in moderation, no, this is more of a necessity.
Yeah, and also the whole challenge where it's like, ah, go 30 days without drinking or something. I feel like they would often lead to just going overboard the day your time is done. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's a thing that's acknowledged too. Is you overcorrect now that you're
yeah.
free, and then you send her for the month of February.
Yeah,
That's
because it
right.
wasn't really okay, it was discipline, but it was more like get through this until this date rather than like set up good habits.
Yeah, and then booze becomes like a reward.
Yeah.
You
It's
try
a
to like
good job
reward
you
yourself.
made it. Have yourself a whole night of drinking. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think uh I think you're a very introspective person, Alex, and that we definitely compounded on that. But yeah, it's interesting to think about the different levels of like introspection that people have and stuff. And I just thought this would be a good segue because we've been talking a lot about various intelligences, such as maybe emotional intelligence, IQ, sort of what those things are, comparing, contrasting them, and that's part of what we wanted to present today.
Should I hold on. Monty should be getting our guest on the line,
Yes, yes.
right?
So we consulted our good friend. So just sit tight. We'll go get you can go get him, Alex.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get him.
All right. In the meantime, yeah. So we consulted our good friend. He's an expert on actually everything. More on him later. But for now, I just wanted to take this moment to thank you for watching. And also, if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to talk about, feel free to bring them up. We really, really have a lack of shit to talk about. We can find stuff, and we can, look up what interests us. But what interests you guys? We'd like to find out. That was my spiel. Hold on, he'll be right here. Oh, look at him. Here he is. So I believe this is Bro Brogan. Uh, hello. Hello, Bro Brogan. How are you doing today?
What's up, nerds?
Here, can you introduce yourself?
What's up? Haha, my name's Bro Brogan. A couple weeks ago, these nerds consulted me. They said they had some questions about some science. They wanted to study some science and shit. And me, as a graduate from the University of Bromeopathy, they were the guy to call. So if you wanted to know, I recently graduated, and I majored in alpha studies. Now, if you don't know what alpha stands for, you're a fucking beta. But just for you beta nerds out there, alpha stands for absolutely, legit, pseudoscientific, helpful answers. So, bro science is the way. I spent 6 years on this shit. Just trust me, dude. I got this. So,
And
the
Alpha
reason why
Answers.
these
Go on.
alpha answers, that's right. So, the reason why these guys called me in today is just to preface this topic that we're approaching. Uh, you know, bro science, it's all about trust. It's all about a little bit of research. It's all about a buddy I know. All right, most of my projects were, trust me, I got a guy for this shit. And you
Yeah.
should know that as these fellows approach these topic, uh, they are both uninformed and informed at the same time. They try their best to be informed. In bro science, we try our best to be informed while secretly being uninformed. So take that as you will.
Yeah. We'll be getting
And
Alpha Answers straight from the horse's mouth today. So be sure to trust everything we say and don't fact check us.
that's right. And just before I go, I'm gonna write you boys a prescription. All right. Now, like a thing we like to do in bro science is we write our prescriptions in rolling papers. That way, you can smoke your prescription and forget you ever had it. But you got your shit, so you know exactly what you're supposed to do, eh? Hold on. When's the next time I'm gonna see you guys?
Hopefully soon. Maybe next week.
It's about a few grams or so. Once again, bro science is not about numbers. Gonna write this shit out for you. 1 second, boys. All right. And I'll leave this for you guys next time I stop by. All right.
All right. Thanks, Brody.
Take care, boys.
All right.
Easy.
Fuck. Now you gotta change back? We didn't think about this. We'd like to take this moment to thank our sponsors. Contigo water bottles. They are the best water bottles. They keep your water cold or hot, whatever temperature you want it to be. In fact, they make it whatever temperature you want it to be. This is actually boiling water right now. Warm.
Fucking guy left vape smoke all over.
Yeah, what an
the place,
asshole, dude.
all over the studio.
He called us nerds a
Kid.
bunch, too. That's really not fun.
Yeah. To be
Quite
fair,
rude.
though, he's helped me out a lot, bro. Bro Brogan. Yeah, he prescribed me this therapy. Whoops. Which one of our friends broke. We saw them.
Yeah. Are you sure
but,
you didn't just break it?
No, they definitely broke it. But I got this prescribe this therapy vape.
Yeah,
Pretty trendy material
pretty
here,
legit.
but
Good
he
construction.
knows
I've
his
held it
stuff.
myself.
I mean, yeah, he ended it with just trust me, dude. So I was just gotta trust him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he is an expert on everything. So,
Everything.
yeah. I guess we can start off with the PowerPoint. We have here the theory of multiple intelligences. Let me just pull it up. Oh, I'm
Yeah, welcome
streaming
to
still? What
Psych
the fuck?
100,
Okay,
guys.
perfect. So yeah,
Welcome to Psych 100.
this is what it looks like. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, I just don't know. So, I guess we'll just list them, and then we'll explain our thoughts.
Yeah, so I'm sure everyone was introduced at some point to this. Like, we probably saw this in like fucking high school, taking like introduction to psychology or whatever.
Yeah,
But
ISAP. I remember that shit.
pretty general form. I remember. I think we may even took a survey for this, bitch, in like grade 5 or something. Then you get to be like, oh, I'm an interpersonal thinker. You get to walk through life with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So yeah, here's the list. We've got visual spatial, linguistic verbal. You can read it. Why am I saying it out loud? Um, so visual spatial looks like it has a lot to do with maybe color and shape. Maybe it has to do with vision. Linguistic verbal clearly has a lot to do with math, as you can see there by x squared plus y squared equals z squared.
Yeah, that was a strange picture that the site we pulled this from chose.
Yeah.
But that's basically your ability to like speak eloquently, think
Yeah.
verbally.
And
Go on.
don't forget, we have Walter White with the logical mathematical thinking. That's he's known
Walter
for his
White's the
math.
poster child for logical mathematical thinking. He's out there spinning his little beaker.
Yeah, yeah, very important. I do want to quickly say what I like about this is that it's an attempt to categorize a very complicated thing, and I believe this is a pretty like early and old theory now at this point, so I don't expect it to be too accurate. Um, but my major complaint with this one is that there's a lot of overlap between these things, so I don't feel like it's very useful. For example, for interpersonal intelligence, you need strong linguistic verbal intelligence already, right? For
Yeah.
musical ability, you need a good sense of actually mathematical skills, believe it or not. Not necessarily you need the intelligence for it. You don't need the skills per se, but you also need a lot of physical coordination. So a lot of examples there that I find are really inaccurate. But as you said, going back to EQ and IQ.
Yeah, so we all know what IQ is, or we all have a conceptual idea of it, but we should also start by saying, like, IQ is pretty not useful on a day-to-day basis. Like, I'm not going to say, like, I'm not going to walk around if I know my IQ score saying, like, oh, I have a high IQ, so yeah, fuck you, or I use it as an insult. This guy that has a low IQ. It's meaningless the way we would use it on day-to-day, right? It's just,
Yeah, and it often doesn't even define success. We're not trying to educate these people. We're trying to say what we find smart and stupid about this. And
yeah.
we took not a lot, but we tried to take a few IQ tests to just explore it and see how it works out. And the results were kind of shit. A good number of them let you take the test and then make you pay to see the answers, which is great. Totally not a cash grab. Totally not, piggybacking off of people trying to stroke their own egos at all, which is good. But we did find one. I don't remember. I don't think we have the results anywhere saved. But essentially, it was 6 questions, and you'd be shown about 8 pictures, and you need to fill in the ninth picture from a set of 6 or so choices. And we
Yeah,
both tried
like
pretty
the
hard
most
at that.
basic example was like, oh, the first 2 rows have a circle, a triangle, and a square in certain positions. And the last one just has, I don't know, a circle and a triangle. So you would guess, oh, there's probably a square in the corner.
Yeah,
That's like
yeah.
what the pattern is.
So because I'm a genius, I took the test and I got 118. So I'm really, really quite smart. You need to bow down before my intelligence. And then I took the test again and put all the answers that I was pretty sure were wrong. And I got 113. So I guess I'm just too smart for the tests to work. I'm basically just beyond the ability of the computers to. They don't know what's right and wrong. They just know that if I answer it, it must be right.
Yeah. And I think normal or average is between 90 and 110.
Yeah.
Now I decided to take this test too, and I think I got a score of 113, which is above average.
Because he's
Whoa,
a
I'm
fucking
smarter than all
idiot.
you all. Yeah, um, but then we started to just play around with it. Like you said, you placed all the wrong answers. What I did next was there's a 10-minute timer, and I just opened the tab and I forgot about it. And then by the end of our call, I was like, oh shit, what happened to the test? And they assigned me a score of 100 for not answering any of the questions and running out of time. So I guess that was pretty marketed, I guess. Kind of bullshit. We don't really know what's going on behind the scenes.
All we know is you need to buy the next IQ test you possibly could get your hands on, because this shit is really important. You need to be told you're smart, at all times, so that you can feel superior.
Exactly.
It's worth
Yeah.
your money. It's worth your money.
The first slot machine pull for us was really good, and
Yeah, it was a good hit.
next buy the rest of them will be good. We just have to buy, and we'll be told we have the highest IQ.
Yeah, it's true. Um,
A lesser known idea is the idea of emotional intelligence that's defined as EQ. It might sound a little bit more dubious on the surface, but it's just ability to regulate your emotions, ability to recognize other people's emotions, and that comes together in how you handle your relationships, intrapersonal relationships like friendships, romantic relationships, professional relationships, etc.
yeah, and how you handle yourself too. If you have better regulation and understanding of your emotions, you can do more. You can be more motivated, that kind of thing.
Yeah. One comment I want to make. I know we're gonna compare these later. Actually, we'll save our comparison for the end. My mistake. But few tests. Um, the one that we want to present was it was just a series of like 20 or so questions, and they all asked questions like, "Oh, when I am feeling this way, I usually know what calms me, right?" And then you answer on a scale of rarely, sometimes, usually. Pretty non-scientific, right?
Yeah, pretty borderline, kind of dubious.
Yeah. And you answer a series of 20 questions, and then it gives you a score of 1 to 100. Pretty simple to understand. And both Walker and I took this test, and just because of the way it was set up, we would answer sometimes or always for pretty much all the questions, right?
Yeah, we almost never. I don't think I ever answered rarely for myself.
Yeah. And this is a strange thing because, like, obviously we don't know, we're not omnipresent, right? We have our own biases, and thus we'll answer the question a certain way to get a certain result. Pretty unreliable. Do you have the scores to
Yeah,
show?
I'll pull them up. So, basically, we recognize that this is super, non-scientific, not even really quite a accurate measure of anything. But what I thought would be interesting was, to see what we can get out of this. Because, as I said to Alex, like when we first did this quiz, if emotional intelligence is your ability to sort of assess yourself and know how you're feeling, how you're thinking, that kind of thing, um, I would expect someone that has lower EQ would possibly think higher of their own abilities in certain regions, you know? It takes a lot of knowledge of yourself to be able to say, I'm not good at this, right?
Yeah.
I forget the name,
Yeah.
but there's a paradox or a fallacy or something where the less you know, the more
Oh.
the more you rate your own abilities, the higher you rate your abilities.
Yeah. And people, yeah, it's like an inverse relationship of
Yeah, so
your
your
true
confidence
skill
level,
versus your perceived skill, right?
yeah, so your confidence level starts low. Sorry, it starts high because you don't know what you don't know. And then as you learn what you don't know, it goes down. And then as you master it and suddenly know what you know, then you're back up in higher confidence. So we thought we could try to uh, leverage that with this test.
Oh, sorry. I also said before it was a score of 1 to 100. It's 1 to 60. I was thinking in
Yeah.
percentages. 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm
no, we,
stupid.
we scored very high, if you're wondering.
So supposedly
Um,
we're empaths. we are psychics
Yes. So these
according
are
to how
this
we
is
assess
we each took
ourselves.
the test, and this was our results. But what we also did was here. Let me see if I can pull it up. We also took uh, the test for each other to see how we do. We haven't actually seen each other's score yet, so this
No,
will be kind of interesting.
it
So
was, and yeah, and also, so yeah, to clarify, we each took the test, but thinking we were rating the other person. So if the question said like, I'm very good at managing conflicts, I would answer, and Walker would answer for me.
yeah, so these are like our
And
assessments of each other in essence.
yes,
So yeah, I guess I'll see them and then
and also we know each other pretty well. We've known each other for
like 15 fucking
17,
years. It's been
16,
a long time.
a long time. So it's just no, we're not strangers here.
Yeah, we met in JK, so it's been a while. So yeah, I'm gonna just pull them up now. I don't, you can't see what I see, but just spoil it for yourself.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, this is interesting. This is interesting. So we'll start with my assessment of Alex. He gave himself a 53. I gave him a 50. So fairly accurate, but still a decent amount lower than, well, not even a decent amount, slightly lower than he gave
Oh
himself.
no.
1 second. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um, and Alex he gave you 37.
37, which means that's just like a barely, yeah, 37 out of 60.
So
Now I will say, I answered usually and always, except for I answered two questions rarely. I don't remember which ones, but
huh.
it's crazy that only answering rarely twice tanked your score by that much.
Wow. So maybe they were really big questions.
Must be. We don't know how questions were weighed or what, but
Yeah. But
okay.
according to this, Alex has a very accurate measure of himself, and I have a fairly inaccurate measure of myself.
At least within
So that's
this really
interesting.
low sample size.
Yeah, within this, yeah, tiny sample size. I'm sure if we got like 10 people to rate each of us, it might be balance out more. Um, but I feel like that's kind of in line. You've always been more introspective than I am, I think.
Yeah, and
So
that
yeah,
was described in the first our first section.
yeah, we just thought it
But
would be interesting to see. That's actually
I
pretty
mean,
cool.
yeah, and another thing we agreed on at the end was, oh, I remember the effect you were talking about. It's
Oh
called
yeah,
the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Dunning-Kruger. Yeah,
Yeah, so you explored that already, but in taking this test, it's almost like the more accurate you are to your score, the higher emotional intelligence you have. But since we don't know the true score, we're not omnipresent. That means nothing to us. So it's
yeah,
almost like saying, um, I scored. If I scored accurately and my true emotional intelligence, according to God or whatever, is 50, and I said 50, I would have a high emotional uh,
yeah,
intelligence. But if I rated myself really lowly, but truly had a high score, or the other way around, then I would have a low emotional intelligence score. So really, the truth is there, but it's beyond our reach.
yeah. Or it's different because with say the IQ test, you're answering it to the best of your ability, right? I guess with this you are too, but with the IQ test, you don't know the answer that will give you a high IQ. With the EQ test, you know what answer will give you a high EQ. It's usually. For all these questions, by the way, it was basically how good are you, how high is your emotional intelligence in this region? Do you rarely do this thing that signifies low intelligence? Do you sometimes? Do you always? That kind of thing.
Yeah,
So it's sort of like the score doesn't matter, it's how accurate your score is that matters,
yeah.
which is kind of interesting.
And now when we come to compare the two, I guess you want to show the chart, and then I have some.
Wait, what chart?
Oh, I guess we don't have the chart saved, do we? But I
Oh,
have it. There's a comparison chart. It's okay,
between.
between EQ and IQ.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I don't have that.
Okay, that's fine. Um, but the chart is basically we've described what they mean and what they measure. But it's weird because they say IQ will measure your success in school. I guess because you're able to take tests really well, remember information, and then EQ is better for success in life.
Yeah. Do you have it up? Because you can share screen, and then I'll see.
I do have it up.
Yeah. So this is just an article we found. It had a table that sort of summarized the comparison between EQ and IQ. We thought they were
Yeah.
interesting.
So, do you see the right webpage?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. So we already went through meanings and what they measure. Um, oh, this is also an interesting thing. Do you want to talk about the acquisition
Yeah,
comparison?
acquisition is cool. So, according to this, as you can read, IQ is inborn and EQ is learned and improved, sort of like a skill, which is cool because in a way, taking EQ tests raises your EQ.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas
Yeah.
taking
And
IQ tests, although you'll get better at the tests and your score will get higher, um, apparently will not increase your IQ.
yeah, because your true ability to, you know, like we said, maybe we'll recognize patterns, blah blah blah. I mean, that will stay relatively stagnant.
Yeah.
But as you go through life, you manage different relationships, you know different people. You'll get better at it, obviously.
So really, it's almost like a measure of wisdom,
Yeah.
kind of, right?
I guess your collective experiences, you
Yeah.
become sharper over time. Or at least if you're seeking to. If you're not thinking about this at all, then I guess that would um, indicate a low EQ. Because if you're not like reflecting at all, measure of emotion or anything. But
Hmm.
regardless, the whole reason why we wanted to look at IQ and EQ is because I guess in the spirit of self improvement or whatever, what else are you supposed to do during COVID besides reflect? I was really interested in just like I don't know. I guess I'm a really I like scientific person, but I really wanted to just like know my score so I could say, "Hey, I know this about myself. This is great," right? I was just looking for the final number. But that that was I realized after doing all those tests and, laughing about our low or high scores was that like finding taking these tests and getting assigned these scores is just the beginning, right? You're given a baseline and now you have to decide where to go with that, right? Um, we didn't get an accurate measure of IQ because the tests we took were unreliable. But
And
at
free.
the end results were always just saying like, hey, here are some resources to continue researching the topic. And in showing interest in the topic, I just learned like um, finding a score doesn't matter. It's just you have to figure it out yourself throughout just living life and such.
Yeah. It's I don't know if it'll ever be possible to describe people's intelligence with just values and numbers.
Yeah,
And I
because
don't
I
think
guess the human that's like the whole challenge of psychology is that like we're just trying to define things that we really can't you really will never ever truly be able to know the answer because um, when I was trying to read about um, well the whole point of these is how to measure success, right? You can say, hey, these people who are highly successful have a high IQ, but the whole battle that happens in psychology is that new terms come into play because people, for example, not everyone will apply themselves, right? You might have a high IQ but low motivation levels, right? If you want to just sit around and smoke pot all day, you're not reaching your potential. Not everybody will reach their full potential. That's easy to understand. But in doing so, then psychologists have to answer like, okay, what else in addition to IQ is great for success? And then they define terms like, oh, high motivation levels or grit was another thing. I read a paper that tried to define grit is like how to overcome your ability to overcome challenges and recognize your goals and aim towards them. And it's just like you're trying to grasp at like a right. You go for it and then it's gone. You can try to chase it and what was the electron theory? You would know about this better.
oh, Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Sort of the closer in you look, the more uncertain you are about the correct answer. Uh, wow. The connection's a little weird. You just vaped in fast motion for me. That was pretty funny actually.
Okay,
But
cool.
but yeah, it gets harder and harder to nail this thing down the more accurate we try to be, which is cool
Yeah. So
and not cool at the same time.
it's not cool, yeah. But we're just fascination with the subject is like I'll never have an answer, but I really want to know like how well I am at handling relationships and regulating my own emotions. I really want to know um if I have a high or low IQ. It's almost like this was my answer or this is my method to the quest of how to fit in. You know what I'm saying? We're all trying to fit in
Hmm.
somehow. And I don't know, I guess being a guy that's been separated from it all, from someone who hasn't been able to fit in, it's almost like you're trying to rationalize, right?
Like why you didn't fit in?
Like why you didn't fit in or how you could fit in. It's just um a dubious answer, something you'll never be able to reach.
Yeah, I
But
feel like I don't think a test will ever tell you something that you didn't already know about yourself. Like I think really everyone that goes into an IQ test, they kind of have an idea of where they're sitting. And I think the same for EQ tests. You know,
uh
I
I don't know, I disagree. Um
would
I spend a lot of time in my own head reflecting and I'm like it's like a recursive algorithm in my head just always going around in circles and circles and ultimately I never know like how is one person ever supposed to know how other people perceive them or how to act in social situations, and that's why I sought these number answers.
but would a percentage really tell you anything? Right?
No, and
You know,
that's what we learned about these.
like would it be like, "Oh, I'm a 74th percentile. That's why I don't know what they think about me." You know, I
Yeah,
think the answer won't tell you anything you don't know about yourself.
I guess, or maybe it it shows you like the ugly truth. Maybe you do know, but maybe it makes you admit it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I
kind of a
this got
somber way
deep.
to end that one, but
Yeah, basically we're all stupid. Nothing matters. Don't take IQ tests. Just don't pay for them, in my opinion.
yeah, don't pay for them. But it's uh it's another unanswerable question there.
Yeah.
I'll never know if I'm able to, if I'm special in some way. You'll never know if you are able to regulate your emotions or are good at handling relationships. But I was gonna go with that. My thesis
Mhm.
is kind of weak on this.
That's all right. We just sort of we wanted to explore the whole intelligence testing thing. Obviously, we didn't go too in depth. We're not trying to spend money, but um,
We're left with more
we enjoyed
questions
them.
than we started with, which I
I
guess
mean,
is a good indication of
that's a good scientific process if I haven't seen one.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, just thought it'd be cool to go through. I feel like everybody
Yeah.
has to go through a phase where they're just like they just want to know about their brain and then
Like what the
like
fuck is wrong with
how
me?
it works.
Yeah.
Oh, were you hoping for a low score? And you're like, ah, that's why.
It'd
You
be
know?
so nice to just be like, oh fuck, yeah, I'm this. You
Yeah, it
know?
would. It would. Um,
That's why I've failed in so many things.
you haven't really failed though. We were losers in school, but shit doesn't matter now. We pick good friends now.
Yeah. Well, regardless, if we can bounce back to IQ, where does IQ manifest in very high successful things? The game of chess. That's something
Mm.
that's really resurfaced a lot during the pandemic somehow. But I remember in the summer, my boss introduced me to the show. You might want to shut off the stream, by the way.
This is your stream.
Oh, it's my stream. My bad.
Yeah, that's right, bitch.
Um, was that there's this show that came out on Netflix called The Queen's Gambit. some of you may or not be familiar with it, but it's just a drama series about takes place during this Cold War era, and it's just about this this girl who grew up in an orphanage, but she was a chess prodigy, and she became introduced to like drugs really early in her life. And so it's a story of how she balances struggling with this addiction to also becoming. She has like this obsession with becoming the best chess player in the world.
Yeah, it's a very
Yeah,
good show. We both
very good
watched it.
show.
I'm sure
Yeah.
much of you have at this point.
And the question my boss was posing was like, I wonder if chess could ever become like cool or mainstream, right? Because it's always been. It's not a game that a lot of people know how to play to start. Um, really, a lot of nerds play it like us, and it's just kind of stuck to that. A lot of people just won't even bother to learn it because they just think, "What's the point?" Right? It's just some silly game.
But it's not
But
just a game.
it's not just a
It's
game.
it's
It's
the
about
best game.
IQ and dominating the board, being smarter than your opponent.
It's a game of intellect and
Yeah,
grit.
but having this really widely popular show on Netflix where chess is the center of it, like could this ever be a thing that becomes popular, right? Could this be like what are some other games where what
There's no game quite like chess.
yeah,
It's
there's no
it
no
has
game
lasted.
quite like it.
It's been around for so long, and it has this beauty to it where it's so limited in the rules, but so infinite in the complexity. And it's a
Yeah.
really elegant way that it's been done. So I'm gonna just quickly pull up the incredible second wave of interest in chess, just so that we can see the just the scale here. I guess there is no scale technically on this.
hmm
But when did the show come out, Alex?
That I can't answer. I can Google it really quickly.
Okay, we can also put it on screen maybe. Um, but as you can see, as of about partway through March, there was a noticeable spike, and actually, mid-October this year, sort of a second spike, or I guess a third wave. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
chess
it
has been
actually
growing in
it released
popularity.
October 2020, so just a few months ago.
Yeah, is
Oh,
this?
sorry, not a few months ago. Yes, a few months
Yeah,
ago.
yeah,
Sorry. Time is meaningless. Every day is the same.
it's true. Interest over time. Yeah, big spikes.
Yeah, and this huge influx of newer players onto chess.com, which is one of the two like titans of online chess. I guess there's light chess and chess.com. But I mean, it inspired a lot of people to start playing, which is really great, right? Part of the reason why I'm really fascinated with chess is like it's a game that's many hundreds and hundreds of years old and it just hasn't changed.
Yeah,
It's one of the like we're still learning how to play the best, right? We're still learning how to what's the best way to play chess. We haven't needed to change the rules at all. It's been just as
yeah.
competitive and balanced
I mean, there were some
since
slight
the day it
changes
began.
at the beginning. It did go through a couple of variations, but for over at least 1,000 years, it's been the exact same.
Yeah. And to this day, professionals, and now we have the power of computers. So just like we have like a chess database, right? So when you play a game, you'll know um, it'll compare thousands of games that have been played, and now we know what the best moves are in certain situations, which is we haven't had that power.
Yeah,
We wouldn't have had that power since the game began. And the fact that we're able to draw this many conclusions from it, even hundreds of years after its inception, it's just yeah, like it's just so it has such a depth.
yeah, it does. Sorry, I was laughing at the meme. Actually, I'll put this up. It's kind of funny.
What
Just
was
to
that movie? It was it Daisy or
Yeah, I
am
think it was
I?
Daisy. So I don't know. Here, let's see if I can zoom in. Oh God. Okay. But just thought this was kind of funny. So this is a scene from Daisy, and as you can see, people are swarming in. People are stuck at home. Yeah.
The admins were like,
So,
oh fuck, can't handle this new wave of players.
but yeah, chess. We've definitely both killed a fair bit of time in recent months playing chess. I actually our school has like a chess team, and I've joined a few tournaments and got my ass beat. Um, but yeah, it's a fun time. It's a good game to play.
Yeah, and I've been following like there's a tournament called like the Tata Steel 2021 World Championship. It's happening in the Netherlands, I believe. But all the top players are playing, and um, the number one ranked player in the world, his name is Magnus Carlsen. You might have heard of him. I looked it up. He has an IQ of 190, and the only reason I say that is because it actually is applicable to this situation.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, IQ by definition should be a good indicator of chess ability.
yeah, but this guy is so good that um, as of a few months ago, he lost his first game. He had a 125 win streak in professional matches, and
That's crazy.
yeah, and the way that other professionals approach playing him is that they all respect him so much that basically the way to play against Magnus Carlsen is to play for a draw. If you watch replays
Wow.
of how they play against Magnus, it's just like
They
they
just
just hold and
trade
secure,
nonstop.
trade, get to an end game where pieces are even, so that you can't. So
Wow.
that, yeah,
That
like
is
no one
crazy.
ever tries to go for a mate because or checkmate because then they just fucking they're gone. They
Yeah.
He's that good.
So what do you
Um,
think? Do you think chess might be a better IQ test than IQ tests?
uh, that's the thing. It's the other way around because then you look at the top level of chess and you decide, oh, all these people in chess have a high IQ, and you try to figure out um, what skill sets they have that makes them so good. But then there could be other reasons why they could be insanely good. Like
Yeah,
I don't
true.
think you
It
could
also
just say,
takes yeah, it takes a lot of research too to like know what openings are good, that kind of thing.
yeah. And that's not to say like all the people in the world that have an exceptional IQ are only in chess, right? So I don't think it's a definitive measure.
That's
But
true. That's true.
yeah, um, I'm really hoping that this game becomes popular. I play chess a lot in lecture. I play online with my friends,
Same.
right, just to kill the time. But it's I know a lot of people that like most of my friends don't know how to play. I only know a couple that even just know how to play, right? And it becomes a whole different beast to like really love the game.
Yeah, I'm scared of you, bro. You said you've been learning openings and stuff. I don't know if I want to play you.
No, I'm dog shit. Don't worry.
Okay, good, good.
Like I know openings, but as soon as someone makes a move that's not according to theory, then I just fall apart.
I'm the opposite. I don't know openings at all. I just sort of play I just play whatever piece looks good at the time.
Yeah, that's probably the better way
Yeah.
to play.
Well, I
But
lose. If I lose, it's right away or like when I fuck up later.
yeah, yeah, but
Yeah.
we should we're encouraging everyone to learn and love the game. Just yeah, it's for the love of the game.
Please sponsor us,
Really
chess.com.
dive into it, and there's just a whole culture to it that I wish people would explore. Like, actually, I recently watched a video where one of the grandmasters, that's like a super high title, but his name is Hikaru Nakamura. He's known as like one of the best speed chess players in the world. That's when you have like 1 minute on the clock on each side, and you just gotta fucking move your pieces. But
Yeah, whole game in
you
two
can find.
minutes.
I watched blindfold against the Mountain from fucking Game of Thrones. Like it's like a popular thing for like GMs are like popular. They stream and they just stream against.
Yeah, no, they've decent Twitch
Yeah.
followings and stuff.
Like, why would people in
YouTube
pop culture
accounts.
be interested in like chess grandmasters? It's weird,
Yeah,
but
it's resurging in popularity. And
yeah,
I feel like it's all because it's digital now. You can play it online.
it's easy. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was a funny video, and I would never have expected fucking the Mountain to just like be playing chess with the grandmaster. Like, just a weird intersection of pop culture there.
Yeah. Well, I think we've hit all the topics we wanted to go over today, right?
Yeah,
It's been a big sort of brainy episode, I think. Very
yeah,
cerebral, if you will.
and as our friend Bro said, I mean, we didn't really hit any definitive answers. We did our research, but um,
But we're not
it's
wrong.
good to we're not wrong, but it's good to know if you have more questions than you started with. then you're on a good stream.
Yeah.
You're on a good stream of conscience.
Yeah, it's cool. This isn't like we're too dumb to fucking actually answer questions, but it's nice to explore things and talk about them, and it's just a good way for us to do it. Honestly, we wouldn't really
Yeah.
have these weird conversations if we didn't have like a reason to just record it and talk about it. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
just trust me, dude. You know, if you're interested in something, dive into it. Be confused. Be dubious. You know, and yeah,
yeah.
expand the horizon.
Keep searching for alpha answers. Always legit. So actually legit? Actually
Oh,
legit.
absolutely legit.
Absolutely legit.
Pseudoscientific,
Pseudoscientific.
helpful answers. That's what we're after
That's what
on
we're
the
after.
Scalar Vector
We're after
podcast
the
here.
alpha. All right. You guys have a good day.